I felt empty. I wasn't happy. And one day I went from waking up at 8 a.m. to the very next day, I was like, you know what? I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. tomorrow. You win the morning and you win the day. But then when you win a few days, you start winning weeks. And winning weeks turn to winning months. And winning months turn to winning years. And you build a winning life one morning at a time. How am I going to show up as husband and father of the year today?
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Cash Flow Alexio Show. Today, I have a really exciting guest, my good friend, Jarvis Leverson, the morning hero. And I'm just so stoked that you were able to make the time. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Jarvis. You are an inspiration to so many. Let's hit it.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
I'm ready to get up and do some burpees.
Oh, really? Oh, man. Here's straight to it with the motivation. There it is. Well, hey, guys, just so you know, Jarvis here, when I said the Morning Hero, that's a special program here in San Diego that I was a part of for a long time. I still consider myself a morning hero. And
once a morning hero, always a morning hero.
Once a hero, always a morning hero. And one of Jarvis's big claims to fame is that, you know, we're all morning people, whether you know it or not. And if you do want dramatic change in your life, you want to really get ambitious towards your goals, it all starts with creating a good morning routine that'll help jumpstart you into your future and help you get your planning straight, get your head straight for your goals. So thanks for coming on the show today, Jarvis. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, man. It's been an honor to watch. I've been like a proud dad on the sideline, watching you run up and down the court, dunking the ball. Like Jordan, you've been crushing it, man, and I've just been proud to see your progress, and it's been an honor to be a part of your journey.
Dude, thank you so much, man. And talking about running back and forth on the court or doing burpees, I think when we first got started, it was at the steps, the convention center steps downtown.
Yeah. Man, that was like 5 years ago.
Wake up Wednesdays. Yeah, at least, man. It's crazy how time flies. But we'd get up early on Wednesdays and go up and down the stairs. Jarvis had a whole group organized. And I met a lot of people on this podcast I met initially at that Wake Up Wednesday. It's a lot of winners, you know. You got to be ambitious to get up at 3:30, 4 a.m. and meet at the stairs to just, drench yourself in sweat. So
we were the crazy ones, man. But, you got to be an outlier.
Yeah, you do, man. You do. Well, hey, why don't you just start by telling the listeners about the Morning Hero program and kind of your philosophy on all of that?
Well, I think I have to first kind of tell you the origin of where the whole Morning Hero came from. And it's funny, I'm right in the middle. I just finished my book.
No way.
So this is all fresh in my mind. I just had to really dig deep into the story of the Morning Hero and the kind of like my whole trajectory. So I'm an engineer. I went from Chicago, went to school, University of Illinois for computer engineering. I went into software sales right after school. And for 15 years, I was the top producing software sales rep, President's Club, making good money. I moved to San Diego and met this beautiful girl. We moved in together, and I had everything. I had the cars. We had a beautiful penthouse apartment in Little Italy, floor-to-ceiling windows, overlooking the water, and on one side overlooking the water, on the other side overlooking downtown. And my life was perfect on the outside, but for some reason, I felt like there was something missing. I felt empty. I wasn't happy. And I started to self-destruct. And at the time, I didn't realize what was going on with me. But as I had to do a lot of self-reflection to write this book, it's self-sabotage. It's in the book, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. He talks about what they call the upper limit problem. And the upper limit problem is, imagine you have a thermostat and your brain, subconsciously, you have a thermostat set to a level of success. And anytime you achieve more than what your thermostat is set for, subconsciously you will start to self-destruct and self-sabotage to bring yourself back down to your comfort zone. Your subconscious comfort level of what you're programming. And it goes deep into like how the stories you were told when you were a kid and your upbringing. But like all of that as you were raised set your thermostat at a certain level. And what I didn't know was happening is like I had it all. I was making a lot of money. I was driving a Mercedes. I had the girl of my dreams. We were throwing all these fancy parties. We were these socialites. I had everything I wanted. And I started to achieve a level of success that I wasn't comfortable with subconsciously, and I started to self-destruct. And that took the form of me going out and partying, me drinking all the time, me staying out till 4 or 5 in the morning, and I got to go to work at 7 in the morning for a meeting, right? Like totally just reckless.
Yeah,
and
you're going past the end of your thermostat, so your body, you were thinking it was just subconsciously bringing you back.
Subconsciously, was bringing me back down to where it felt like my level of success and happiness that my thermostat was.
How old were you at the time?
I was 30. I had 30, between 30 and 35. So these years of my life are between 30. I call them the lost years. Between 30 and 35. And so I self-destructed. Ended up getting let go from my job. Me and the girl broke up and parted ways. I had to move out of the penthouse apartment, and I found myself just roaming, sleeping on friends' couches and sleeping on their floors for a couple of months before.
Yeah, full spectrum, like from the top to the bottom.
From the top to the bottom until I had to move back to Chicago and start my life all over again. And so there I was on my mom's couch, sleeping on her couch because I didn't even have a room to stay in anymore. She had turned my room into a shoe closet after I left.
she must have a lot of shoes.
She turned my room it was her perfect place. She had a shoe closet, and here I am coming back. And she's like, well, the shoes ain't going, so take your ass to the couch.
That's great, man.
So there I am. And then at that moment, I got a text message, not a text, but a notification from LinkedIn. And it says, hey, go congratulate Eric on his new job promotion. And Eric was my lab partner in school at the University of Illinois. And we took all the same classes. We took all the same homeworks and exams. We did it together as a team. And so we literally graduated with the same grades. We graduated with the same job opportunities. And we were literally on the exact same trajectory in life. And then after school, me and him kind of parted ways, and I hadn't heard from him. And
you had done pretty well after school too.
So we both were on this rising star trajectory. And then here I am, it's 15 years later, and I'm looking at this LinkedIn notification saying, go congratulate Eric on his new job promotion. And I go and I look at his job promotion, his LinkedIn profile, and it says that he was the CTO of this software logistics company. And he was the chief technology officer. And then I go to his Instagram profile, and I'm looking at all these great things he's doing. And he's got a beautiful home. They've got a vacation house. They've got a boat. They're donating to charities. He sits on the board. I mean, he's just uber successful. And there I was, homeless on my mom's couch. Yeah. And what that was a wake-up call, because it was me and him were the exact same person. And it was like the Lord was showing me, it was like a mirror showing me, like, this is the life that I had in store for you. You are just as capable as him. You have all the same tools, all the same resources, all the same talent, all the same intellect. You have everything. And what the fuck are you doing with it? You're squandering it away. This is the life you could be having. And I was like, it just lit a fucking fire in me. And I was like, God damn it. All right, that's it. I'm not going to waste my potential. Like, I'm built more than just wasting it here on my mom's couch.
That's such a beautiful thing, because I think a lot of people, jealousy, everybody says, don't be jealous. But I think jealousy, if you harness it, like what you did, and you just let it fuel your fire, man. And
I don't want to say it was nothing bad against Eric. I don't want to take away from what it was just showing, I was more pissed at myself.
Right.
It wasn't like I was like.
It opened your eyes to at some point took the different trajectory than you should have been.
Right.
And how the hell are you going to get back on track?
And how am I going to get back on track? And that was it. So that fire was, once I was exposed to the life I could be having, the life I should be living versus the life I was living, I saw that there was a delta there. There was a difference between where I should have been and where I was. And I got obsessed over, how do I get back there? And then, so that put me on this whole path of personal development. So I started reading books, and I got into, I read The Miracle Morning, and that was the first personal development book I ever read, was The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And it was a book on morning routines. And it's like, look, your full potential is waiting for you first thing in the morning. Get up and get after it every day. Don't sleep it away.
Exactly. And there's, even the morning hero probably has some days where it's like you slept it away, but luckily you're in that mindset that it's like, hey, you know what? Tomorrow's a new day. miracle morning. Let's not let it repeat. There's only so many left. And I think that's just part of the human condition again. No one's perfect. All we can do is strive to be better.
Yeah.
But yeah, that miracle morning, I read that when I started the Morning Hero program with you. I remember reading it. You can just you can't help but feel the passion of the writer flowing, Hal Elrod flowing through you. The guy is, the way he writes the book, you can just feel the energy that he is so damn excited to wake you up. And as you go through it, it gives you that excitement. You're like, you know what? At first you're like, okay, maybe whatever. What is this morning stuff? Maybe I'll check it out. Then by the end of it, you're like, you know what? I'm gonna wake up at 4 a.m. tomorrow. I'm gonna get all these wins first thing. Like, that guy fueled my fire. And then all night you're kind of like thinking about it going to sleep, and you're thinking about it waking up, and you're like, I'm not sleeping this day.
Totally.
So it's an awesome wake up book. And I think one of the cool things in it too is I think that he just embodies the idea of choosing your attitude around something, like waking up early. Like, you can either wake up and say, oh, I'm so tired, time to go back to sleep, or you can wake up and go, hey, this is an opportunity to get ahead. Like, let's go hit it right now. And then every single decision thereafter dominoes in that direction versus the lazy direction. So yeah,
it's so beautiful. Like the power of your words. It's just how you speak something. You can speak life into it or death into it. It's all how you speak about it.
It's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of how I got my start with personal development. I started getting up early, and I had built my own, like, the Miracle Morning has this routine. I started building like my own kind of framework of how to win the morning. And then that became my mantra: win the morning, win the day. And
win the morning, win the day.
Yeah.
Love it.
And here's the cool thing about that. You win the morning and you win the day, but then when you win a few days, you start winning weeks. And winning weeks turn to winning months. And winning months turn to winning years, and you build a winning life one morning at a time. So if you just focus on winning that morning, and that's what I started doing right there on my mom's couch. I started waking up at 5 a.m. I started getting after it. I'd pull my journal out. I'd write my goals. I'd do a little meditation and prayer and plan out my day and go do some exercise and like set intention. What it really was like just being more intentional about how I started the day, instead of just waking up and doing stuff, instead of just waking up right into the chaos, which is, with a lot of people, just wake up right into just whatever the chaos of the day, my phone, my email, phone calls, text messages, the news. Like, instead of just waking up right into chaos, just be more intentional, set an intention for what outcome you want for the day. And so that first hour is kind of where I focused. How do I win that hour so I can be more intentional? And then the dominoes fall. It turns into a day, it turns into a week, turns into a month, turns into years. 1 hour turns into a winning life. Yeah. And then that, I started winning. I got in the best shape of my life. I got my real estate license. So I'm from my mom's couch. I got my real estate license and moved back to San Diego and started building my real estate business here. The girl that broke up with me, rekindled with her, and now we're married. We got 2 beautiful children. Awesome. And my whole life trajectory changed, all starting with that first hour of the day, winning that first hour. I call it the power hour. And then I started posting about it online. And I remember one day someone commented on one of my posts, like, dude, man, every morning, because I would post at like 5 a.m. I would post these motivational videos, right as soon as I meditate and journal something, then I pull my phone out and I post a video about whatever I just journaled. And someone was like, dude, man, every morning you're on here like a hero. You're my hero every morning. And I was like, yeah, damn, the morning hero. I like that.
There it is.
And that's where the name Morning Hero came from. And then people started calling me that. And then I started helping other people kind of maximize their morning. And then we turned it into a whole coaching and accountability program. And
I remember I think I was on one of the earlier programs. And it's awesome. And I just love how you took that and used it to lift everybody around you. And create the program that's now helped so many entrepreneurs and real estate agents in town. To this day, I think how many places does it exist now? Is it just in San Diego? Or
No. We have people all over the U.S. So no, we're not international yet, but we have people all over the U.S. We have coaches in multiple states.
You got to go Morning Hero worldwide.
Yeah, for real. That's it. My goal, Mike, I just did kind of like my visioneering for this year of what 2025 is going to look like. And my big goal is to have Morning Hero will be a movement. And it's more of like just helping inspire people to take ownership of their life, to live the life that they deserve and were called to live. And I think a lot of people aren't stepping in their calling. They're playing small. And I mean, I think the greatest travesty on earth is people who don't live up to what the purpose that they were born for. Like there are people, everyone has a unique role to play in this humanistic existence, this experience that we're all in. Someone was born to cure cancer. Someone was born to solve the hunger crisis. Someone was born to fix the homeless situation. There are people on this earth. Someone's born to get us to Mars, right? Elon Musk. There are people right now that were born and their purpose was to solve these big problems. And imagine if they don't live up to their promise, if they decide to slack off, if they take it easy, if they start coasting. Not only do they disappoint themselves, but the whole world
let humanity down.
Suffers. Yeah. The whole world. Like, we need you to fill the gap, to fill the void that you were born to fill. Yeah. Right? Like, we need you to, and not everyone has that big promise. Like, people need to work with children. People need to work with nonprofits. Like, everyone has a purpose. And when you slack off and you don't live in your calling and you just take it easy, gosh, man, we all suffer. And so my main mission is I want to fuel everyone to live in their calling and their purpose and promise. And so this year it's about building a movement of morning heroes that's getting up every day, excited to take over the world.
I love it, man. I love that. And then, I know, like you said, people, I think exactly what you said is exactly true. Everybody has a superpower. Yeah. And they need to figure that out and triple down on it. And when they do that, everything starts flowing into place. The universe rewards you for figuring that out and actually pursuing it. And then you feel better about yourself because you feel like you're in line. You've said something to me before that was, you feel like you're swimming downstream when you're doing what you're doing. Why don't you tell the listeners what that means?
Yeah, that's like when you're in alignment, it doesn't feel like, oftentimes, I don't know if you ever had those days where you just feel like you're walking through quicksand, like you're just kind of sluggish, like you're fighting the day. And I used to do this. I would just get up fighting the day. And it's like, I didn't know what I was getting up for, and I didn't really have a strong why of what I was doing and why I was doing it. So everything was just a struggle. Everything was a fight. And when you step into, when you truly get aligned with, okay, what's the grand thing I'm here for? And am I en route? And am I living in that best self? Am I living in that full potential? That's alignment. And when you're in alignment, like, nothing is hard. It's easy. It's easy. I have a shirt that says it's easy. And that's what it is. It's easy is when you know you are in pursuit of who you were called to be, and you're doing what you were put on this earth to do, and you're living that out every day. It doesn't feel like it's uphill.
Yeah, every fiber in your body is just naturally inclined towards that direction. So it's not like you're pulling anything.
Yeah, you're not pulling. You're not struggling. You're not carrying big heavy weight. It's like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. I've had this conversation with a couple of guests on the show, and one of the things that I think that can manifest itself in many different ways on how you're going to give back. And like, it doesn't have to be immediately. It can happen at a point in life as long as it's a goal to pursue that at some point. Because the reality is that if you love photography and you're 20 years old and you're trying to, and you don't have a safety net, you need to like make ends meet every month, you might not be able to like actually pull it together. Initially, you might have to have a stepping stone of a job that's going to pay the bills. As long as you're constantly working on that as a side gig. Kind of Gary Vee talks about how you have to have that side hustle until it becomes your main hustle. Yeah, and then that's how you can position yourself to be flowing downstream. But with the Cash Flow Alexio Show and my whole mantra that believe it or not, did you know that you actually helped me come up with the Instagram handle Cash Flow Alexio? Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
Oh yeah, we were at the University Club, and I remember we were coming up with our goals for the year. A little tangent here. Coming up with the goals for the year at the University Club, and I think I was like 2017 or something, 2018, and I'd been in the business for a couple of years. I just had a really good year. I made like a little over $200,000, and our goal together was, hey, you got to make 350 grand. What are we going to do? How are we going to get all of your life goals in alignment so that you're going to hit that goal? And then you're going to have your goal of hanging out with your family more, and you're going to be healthy. And, we had these different buckets, and it was cool because, like everybody, a lot of the other buckets are able to be filled if you're able to keep food on the table and keep the roof over your head.
Totally.
So we focused more heavily on the work goals. But at the time, my name was Sexio Alexio, and that had been my mantra for a long time.
Yes.
And that was more of just like a goofball thing. But I said, hey, you know what? I got to lean into this real estate thing. I want to start providing more value. I really want to just make who I am about real estate and how it can help people get to where they want to be. And then we came up with the name Cash Flow Alexio up there at the University Towers. University Club above Symphony Towers. And, since then I've been Cash Flow Alexio. And I feel like in the last few years, I've really leaned into it, creating more content and stuff. But back to why that is my name and why I think that's like my superpower, my calling now, is because I think that if you're able to generate cash flow or even just get into the mindset of cash flow, whether that's in real estate or other businesses that you create, it gives you the freedom to pursue all of your different superpowers. Totally. If you don't have to worry about the roof over your head and you're able to save a little bit of money every month because the cash flow's paying all of your day-to-day responsibilities, then you can really lean into what you find. You see problems everywhere and you have the bandwidth to solve it because you're not just struggling every hour of every day trying to make ends meet.
Yep.
And so I think cash flow is a great thing that everybody should pursue because it just gives you more bandwidth to do more of what you're best at at one point in life.
Absolutely.
So anyway, I don't even know if I'd be in this mindset if it weren't for the morning hero helping me get my head straight back there at the.
It's great to see you are in the flow state, man. You're in the ease and flow, and it feels natural. And I love how you've been able to blend everything together. Your passion, which is the photography and the videography, the real estate, and a lot of times people struggle because they don't have time, so then they get very one-sided. And I love how you weave them together. And so now it doesn't feel forced. It's easy because now you love to do it because you're woven in what you love with what you have to make money.
And it's funny. At first, it was a great way to actually excel in photography. And photography gear is expensive too. So if you're not making money with it, it's hard to really see yourself buying more. Each camera and lens combo, if you want the good stuff, is like $4K plus. And that's a lot of money. But initially with real estate, I started doing photography for my own properties, and I was doing a good job, and I started doing the drone stuff, and I was already just enjoying taking drone videos and stuff on the side, but I started applying it to real estate. And it really stood out because no one else was doing that at the time in San Diego for the multifamily stuff. And all of a sudden, all of the 20 agents at the company wanted me to do it for them. And then I started, okay, well, here, I'll charge this much. Next thing you know, I'm spending half my week doing photography on real estate properties just here. Got to see all the different neighborhoods of San Diego. It actually helped me investigate, understand what neighborhoods are good or bad, and see even nick and cranny, see what streets are rougher than others. But over time, it actually burned me out on photography. I did not want to pick up the camera on the weekends. And so I told myself, I was like, you know what? One, I'm not going to make as much money if I was excelling in real estate. I'm like, as we were talking about our different goals, what do I got to focus on this year to get to 350? One of them was hey, I got to offload the photography because one, it's not filling my cup, and then two, it's taking me away from the higher income earning responsibilities. So then we kind of re-strategized and did that. But that's always one thing that I'm always weary when people tell me, hey, I love this. I want to start a business doing this. I'm like, okay, well, just because you love it when you're doing it for yourself, especially creative stuff painting and stuff, you might get burnt out doing it for someone else. It's fun when it's for yourself because there's no one looking over your shoulder telling you, no, do it that way, do it this way. That's what starts to get you, oh man, I need the creative freedom. Yeah. So that's what I was feeling. And anyway, now I love it because I have a team that I've created a big business and actually gave it to one of my juniors who just loved photography, and he's doing a great job. Shout out Primetime Real Estate Photography. Chris Buckle, actually, he was part of the program for a little bit too. And but anyway, he's taking that over, and I just focus on the real estate. But I get to set up my cameras and podcasts. This is kind of like where I'm integrating it now, is trying to figure out how to make these things, make my guests look sexier on the camera.
I don't know if you can make it sexier, but you might need AI.
Those pocket squares are looking good, man. I gotta get me one of those. But anyway, back to the morning hero. Let me see what I got next in store for us here. Oh yeah, this is a good one. So you mentioned that a lot of people are not in their flow state, and it's a disservice to society to not be pursuing their best self.
Yeah.
What do you say to the people that tell you, I don't know if I could do that, I'm not a morning person?
First of all, those are kind of like two separate things. I'll start with the morning person. I mean, if you're not a morning person, you're not a morning person. And I say the reason you're not a morning person is because you tell yourself that. I used to tell myself I wasn't a morning person too. I was a computer engineer, and as an engineer, you typically stay up all night doing homework. So
really?
we would do we call it hackathons, like computer coding. You get together with a bunch of computer nerds and you stay up all night coding, and they call it a hackathon.
Why is that? Why do you do it like that?
Because we're just oddballs. Claimed ourselves nocturnals. Like we were proud of it. Like we wore like a badge of honor.
Are you guys like working together? Is it a competition? Like who can who can create the code the fastest?
Mostly because these things were hard. Like we were building video games and stuff, and we would wait to the deadline, and then we're up under the gun, and you have to stay. I mean, we would stay up for days at a time trying to finish a project. Wow. And so we'd be all in the lab, like Red Bulls and everything, like strung out. But that was our life. And so I kind of like, adopted this nocturnal lifestyle. Like that's who I am as a person. Like I was born that way. My circadian rhythm, like I do my best work from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Yeah. And so all the way up into my 30s, that was my normal rhythm. I stayed up late and I woke up late. And then it wasn't until I read The Miracle Morning where he says, you are who you tell yourself you are. Kind of what we were talking about earlier, the power of your words. And the moment you tell yourself something different, you'd be surprised at how quickly you change your identity. And so in that one night, from when I read that book, the very next day I said, you know what? I am a morning person. I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. tomorrow. I was waking up at like 8 a.m. In one day, I went from waking up at 8 a.m. to the very next day, I was like, you know what? I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. tomorrow. I am a morning person. And like I was just...
You just decided.
I just decided. That next morning, I woke up at 4:57 a.m., 3 minutes before my alarm clock went off. And I've never used an alarm clock since. In one day, I changed from a night owl to a morning person, all because I told myself that's who I was. And so I say to anyone, you are exactly who you tell yourself you are. If you want to be a night owl, you keep telling yourself that, and you will stay that. If you want to be a morning person, tell yourself that, and you'd be surprised at how obedient your subconscious is to what you tell it. So, wow, that's that. As far as like people that are living up in their true calling, I didn't know what my calling was. And I struggled with this for a while because like I envy people who come out the gates knowing what they were called to do. My wife is that way. It's like she was born to be an educator.
That's the case for so many people. So many people are like, well, that's cool that I have a superpower. What is it?
Yeah. They don't know. And I was 35 before I really started to lean into what I now know is my superpower, which is speaking and bringing people together and being able to kind of lead the charge and lead people down a direction. I didn't know that back then. But what I will say is it's an evolutionary process, meaning you grow into knowing it. You don't just wake up one day like, oh, this is it. But it comes to you in the silence, right? So the more time you can spend in the silence, meaning, in the stillness of the morning, I recommend, of course, waking up when it's dark outside. There's no noise. Nobody's awake. It's dark. There's no phone calls. There's no pressure to start the day. Like, it's just stillness. And spend some time in meditation. Spend time in prayer. I go for lots of walks. Those moments is where you start to receive aha moments. You start to receive like bits of inspiration or, just like, it's like the universe speaks to you. And then that's where you get clarity. And so I say, I was on my mom's couch, homeless. I started waking up at 5 a.m. I have an hour just to myself. I would journal and meditate. And every day I would get a little more and more clearer. Ideas would start flowing to me and business plans, and I would start just mapping it out in my journal. I got journals like this thick of just stuff. Every day I'm writing. Every day I get visions when my eyes were closed. My wife came to me, like we were broken up at the time. We swore we would never speak to each other again after we broke up. And every day I would, close my eyes and I would meditate on what my best self looks like. And every day, like, she kept coming into that vision. She kept coming into that picture. And then slowly but surely, we reconnected. And that came to me. I'm married to my wife now because I spent time in silence every morning to listen for guidance. And so I think if more people understood the power of a listening practice, listening for answers, not trying to figure answers out. The answer is already figured out for you. You have to tune into it. It's like radio.
I love
right?
that. Yeah.
There are things there are waves being transmitted through you right now from thousands of different radio frequencies are going through you right now. And if you pull the device out and you tuned in, you can listen to one of them. Tune every morning. You can tune in to a frequency of answers that's already being spoken.
I love that.
You have to tune in. Boom. Once you land on that channel, boom, you start getting the download. Holy shit, that really? Oh, that I should do that. I should do that with my finances.
It gives you that spark of inspiration. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you only get that, and you've said this to me before, I remember in The Morning Hero, is intentional silence. Yeah, where you take time. People wonder how they're going to get the inspiration. It's you got to do the work. What is the work? You got to sit there in silence and reflection. Or maybe it happens on a run. I know a lot of times those kind of visions or inspirational things came to me in the morning, right after I finished Morning Hero program. Got into my 3-mile run and just started going. I was in University Heights. It's cold out. Sun's barely coming up. And then I'm like, oh, man, I really should call that guy today. Oh, man, no way. What if I connected him to this property over here? You know what I didn't think about? We learned about this last week. This would be a perfect product for him. Yeah. And, those kind of thoughts don't happen if you're constantly consuming, which is what our the scrolling, the doom scrolling, and that's keeping you from tuning in.
Totally, it's the noise. Yeah, and so like if you think of it, like all those things, those voices that you heard, or those ideas that you got, or those strokes of genius. Yeah, imagine they're whispers. That's just a whisper, and you were able to hear it because of the silence of the calm stillness of the run or the morning, but the world is noisy. And so if you wake up in the world, it's too noisy to hear all the whispers. All you hear is the noise. All you hear is the breaking news or the social media or the phone ringing or the dog barking or your kids crying. Like if you wake up right into the noise of the day, you never hear the whispers of clarity that's being spoken to you.
Right. Yeah. I totally relate to that, especially these days where I feel that every minute of the day, if I want to get any of the things that I want done, it has to be before 9 a.m. Because by 9 a.m., escrow's calling, 15 different clients are calling me, asking me to set up showings or whatever, this, that, or I got tenants with disasters in North County that need immediate assistance. It's like at that point, if I had anything that I wanted to get done, the whole rest of the day is like putting out fires. Yeah. And, I think it even helps more. I'm usually the first one in the office here at 8, but now with the family and everything, it's definitely gotten harder to consistently be up early in my reflection and meditation. And I'm going to get into that with you in a second. But yeah, 100%, man. The biggest leaps and strides I've had in life were while I was part of the Morning Hero program and intentionally, diligently, consistently waking up day in and day out with those goals in mind. And man, I was when we wrote down on my notebook, I'm making $350K next year. I was like, man, I don't know if I can do this, but whatever, I'm gonna write it down. Yeah. And dude, that next year, I think I broke like 400. And then the following year I was over $500,000. And, it sounded like a wild thing to attain, but every morning in reflection, like you said, you just start with a couple wins, 1 hour, and then you win a couple days, and you win a couple weeks, and you win a couple years. And I mean, I'm like the living proof of that philosophy.
You're a true hero, man. You're a morning hero. Born.
Yeah, I mean, I have you to thank, man. I tell all of my friends who even bring it up or even are just looking to improve, I said, hey, go to one of the Accelerated Growth Club events, follow Jarvis, and you should really do his program because it'll really help you become your best version of yourself and skip 10 years of the dead years, like you said you had in your early 30s.
The lost years. Yeah. I'm telling you, man, the lost years, like that is just filled with like regret and resentment.
Yeah.
And that's more painful than anything else. That's more painful than breaking a leg or anything.
Isn't it?
The guilt. The guilt that, gosh, I'm letting people down. I'm letting myself down.
Right.
I'm not going as hard as I could be. That's the guilt. And
right.
You don't want to live with that.
Well, that can turn into like depression and stuff too.
Oh man, that turns into depression. That turns into drinking problems. That turns into drug problems. That turns into dependency issues, like overeating. That turns into like every dependence you have on a vice comes from a deep-seated sense of disappointment in yourself.
Yeah, and you're not watering one of the plants. That's perfect segue, man. Let's talk about one of the things that I think was so helpful for me in the Morning Hero program was kind of organizing my life into the different buckets of work, family, health, and then your personal hobbies and whatever aspirations are there. And one of the things that we talked about was the grass is greener where you water it. So a lot of times those things, they all really, for you to feel your best self, they all kind of have to be elevating together. And if the scales get tipped, which happens a lot for all entrepreneurs, into just the wealth side, just the business building, the family starts to suffer. You get home late, you don't get to spend any time with them. You skip your working out. And hey, I'm guilty of that. It's one of my goals this year is trying to get that one back in balance. Or you don't do any of your hobbies that fill your cup. Then you don't feel like you're in alignment. Even though you might be doing your superpower, you're letting the other areas of your life down. What is one of the best ways that you've helped or that you recommend people should just a practice so that that doesn't happen?
Yeah, it just comes down to being more intentional. Like with work, you're very intentional about work. Essentially, when I say intention, that means just really thoughtfully thinking through how you're going to show up in each of the areas. So typically, when you wake up in the morning, you put together your to-do list. That's you setting an intention for all the stuff you need to get done. But most of that stuff is work stuff. And so it's just like forcing yourself to be more intentional about, okay, that's the work list. All right, now, so I have every day I meditate on 3 separate categories: health, wealth, and relationships. And so wealth, okay, boom, I have a goal for my wealth. I'll write it down. This year, I'm speaking on 25 stages. And that's my goal for this year. I'm speaking on bigger corporate keynote stages. So I write that down, and then boom, I come up, I close my eyes, and I ask for, okay, what do I need to accomplish today to hit that goal? Then I actually go to my health. I said, boom, I'm going to look like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. This year, I'm going to be looking like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. That's the goal. I write it.
Love it.
And then boom, come up, okay, what am I doing today to put me in alignment with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? All right, well, I'm skipping breakfast because I'm fasting. I'm having a healthy lunch, having some salad for dinner, and I'm going to get this 3-mile run in. Okay, relationships, husband and father of the year, and I write that down. And so I think it's about just being intentional. And so have a goal in each of those areas and then write that goal every day. And the moment you write that goal, your brain will start brainstorming, okay, what do I need to do today to live in alignment with that goal I just wrote? And so every day I write husband and father of the year in my journal. And then my brain now is forced to come up with how am I going to show up as husband and father of the year today. And yesterday, when I wrote that, give my wife a foot rub was the first thing that came to my mind. So I then went to my calendar and I scheduled it on my calendar, give my wife a foot rub. Because if it's not on my calendar, I know it ain't going to get done. Yeah. And so people look at my calendar and they think I'm crazy. Like, why do you have hang Netflix and chill with your wife on your calendar? Well, because I'm intentional about it.
Right. Yeah.
Like, your calendar are where your commitments are. If I look at your calendar, I can see the things that's important to you. And so I schedule the fun stuff on my calendar too, because it shows how committed I am to do those things.
Right. Because if you don't, you're going to schedule only the business stuff. And that's going to get done, but the fun stuff wasn't on the calendar. So like maybe it's even the psychological fact that it wasn't there. It's just, it's too easy to get pushed off. So anyway, every day I write the goals in those 3 areas. I make sure that I come up with something in every area that I'm going to do today to fulfill that goal. And then I go to my calendar and I book it
and lock it in stone on my calendar. That makes sure that I do it. And like last night, I had foot rub on my calendar.
What time?
After the kids go down at 8.
Nice.
And we put the kids down. The cool thing about me and my wife, we have a shared calendar. So when I put something on the calendar, she sees it. Like we have a shared family calendar.
Yeah.
And so I put foot rub on our shared family calendar intentionally so she can see it.
Yeah.
And so after we put the kids down, she knows it's foot rub time.
She's got her feet up on the calendar.
Here's the cool thing. Here's the crazy thing. I had totally forgotten, and I had pulled my book out because I need to send the final revisions back to my editor. And so I pulled my laptop out to finish the book. And she's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" "It's foot rub time." I'm like, "You absolutely right. Let's go get the lotion."
And I love how it also puts you in that mindset. Like sometimes you can be at the end of the day and there's still things on the table, and like your wife asks you something and you're almost like I just need to get this done first. But because it was on your calendar and you've trained yourself habitually to obey what's on the calendar, it just puts you in that good mood. Hey, you're right. Let's do this right now.
I'm like, what? I can't disobey my calendar.
Or my wife.
And you know what? That's the great thing about having a shared calendar and putting things on it is because it adds some accountability to it. Because now I put that on there. She now has an expectation of that thing that's on the calendar.
Yeah.
I committed to it. And so now it's that added accountability that, hey, you said you were going to do this. Are we doing it or not? Hell yeah, we're doing it.
I love it. And just the fact that, just able to get answer with that amount of confidence and excitement is, that's unique. And that's only if you get into the habit of really setting those intentions and then abiding by them without any, without letting yourself slip. That's amazing, man. I think those are great tips. And I think it's a great time to be sharing those. We're January, was it the 8th today? There's still time to get your new year in check. You can start tomorrow. Wake up early and just let the dominoes fall. It's your choice to really make 2025 the best year yet. You haven't missed the boat yet. So you said something and I completely forgot. But how long have you been working on your book?
On and off, 2 years, but seriously for the last, I would say 6 months, seriously. It's just been kind of like a passion project for the last couple of years. But last year, I put it as a hard goal. I'm finishing this book. And so it was my 2024 big thing. And so coming into December, I was under the pressure.
You're
like, oh shit, I gotta finish this thing because I committed to it. So yeah, I finished it like right at the finish line of 2024.
Nice. What's the book about?
It's called The Winning Formula. I'm not sure of the title yet. It either we call The Winning Formula or Every Damn Day. Every damn day is kind of the mantra of Morning Hero, which is just like everyday consistency. Get up, get after it every damn day, no days off.
Yeah.
And so, but the winning formula is kind of like what we've been talking about. Win the morning, win the day, and how do you build a winning life? And it's my formula for how to both win the morning and then how to win the day.
Okay.
And how to answer
just
that
giving that away, huh?
What was that?
Just giving that formula away.
Oh man, the power isn't in the education. The power is in the implementation. And so I give away everything. You go to my Instagram. If anyone follows me on Instagram, everything that's in this book, I give it away on it. I talk about it every day. So if you read the book, there will be no surprises of what I'm talking about. And the book is just more structured. Right. It kind of gives you the more clear layout of the framework of how to do it. So it's a more organized way. But I give freely. That's what I do. I go out and I speak to the world. I talk to the world. I want people to have all the information they need. So it's not in the education. The implementation is where people struggle. And so that is where we have all kind of things to help people with that too.
Let's talk about it. How does the Morning Hero help people implement things in their day? Yeah,
so the whole thing is like win the morning, right? That's the big thing is win the morning. And the word win stands for wake up early, set your intentions, no days off. So WIN.
Okay.
Wake up early, set your intentions, no days off. And so that's the winning formula. And so we help people. The hardest part of that is the waking up early and sitting down and setting your intentions, like intentionally carving out space, a quiet time to set your intentions in front of a journal, to plan out your day, to write your goals, to plan, get your calendar all
Remind
organized.
yourself of your grand vision.
Yeah. People so intuitively want to get up and go. Just get up and start doing stuff. Let me get up when the baby gets up, and now I'm fussing with family, and I'm doing breakfast. I'm getting the kids ready for school, and now I'm going to work. Like, they just get up and go. They never carve out that time to first set your intentions of how you're going to show up today. So the Morning Hero program, we get everyone on a call and first thing in the morning, and we do it together. We have a facilitator who leads people through setting their intentions for the day. It's like goal setting every day. First thing in the morning. So that part is where if people struggle with waking up early and carving out that space for themselves, that's where we have a program that helps them. They get on a Zoom call 5 a.m, and then you led through an intention setting process every day and then you fire off with raging productivity.
Is there like a secret sauce or something of that program? Like, to really, I guess, keep people on the call? What happens when they don't wake up? What keeps them showing up?
Yeah, so the secret sauce is we gamify it. And so I think, like, if you can gamify something, like, that's really, like, taps into, our competitive spirit.
Oh, yeah.
And so every week there's a challenge and there's leaderboards, and every time you show up, you get points. And so you're on the leaderboard, and the winner of the challenge gets prizes. They get all kinds of fun stuff.
Right.
And so we if you're familiar with, like, Duolingo, like how Duolingo gamifies, like, learning Spanish, like how to learn a language. You get points, you graduate to different boards and achievement levels. And so we do that with the Morning Hero. So one of the aspects of how to win the day is by gamifying your day. And so every time you show up, you have a scoreboard, you check off the things you did and didn't do, and you get points. And then that element creates this gamification that people it fires them up every day.
I love it, man. Okay, just a couple more questions for you. One of them is actually one that I'm struggling with right now. And I think that I'm already pulling some tidbits from today's podcast that are going to get me fired up tomorrow morning to get up an hour or two earlier. And but this is one that's just, as I'm going into having my second child in just under a month here, I already have one on the way, and I know how that has affected my morning routines. A lot of it just having to do with the unpredictability of when he's going to wake up. And, some days he skips his nap and then goes to sleep super early, wants to wake up and play with his Play-Doh at 4:30 a.m. And then, I'm about to have another one of these things. So, and you have 2 kids. So what are some strategies that you've implemented to, I guess, stay consistent with your days?
So when you're in the phase that you're going through with toddlers, newborns and toddlers, especially you're going to have 2 of them, it's going to be chaotic. And first thing I'll say is give yourself grace. There is no set formula. And unless you just want to be like an asshole dad, and I don't believe that to be the case for you, where you don't care about anything. You don't care. I'm doing this, and I'm selfish, and I don't care. I'm going to sleep, or I'm waking up at the time I want to wake up. I'm going to the gym when I need to do this. Like, unless you just don't want to be present, like, you will have to be attentive to the kids. You will have to be attentive to your wife. You will things will be out of flux. Things will be unpredictable. Yeah. You will have to go to the hospital at 2 a.m. because the kid is coughing like crazy, and you don't know what. Life will happen fast when you with kids, right? And it's unpredictable, and there's just no way around it. So in that case, give yourself grace. There will be days you can't. You've been up all night with a sick child, and you can't get up at 5 a.m. because you just went to bed at 3:30. Right, and it's crazy to think that you still need your sleep. Or else you won't be able to function. And so give you, in these years that you're approaching, give yourself grace. That'll be my first tidbit. The second one would be, as fast as you can, get the whole house on a routine, on a schedule. With us, our kids go down at 7 p.m. That is because me and my wife have to be down at 8 p.m. like by 8:30 because I wake up at 4. I wake up between 3:30 and 4. And I still need a full, I'm not shortcutting sleep, and I don't recommend anyone shortcut sleep to wake up early. You go to bed early to wake up early. You don't cut your sleep short. Yeah. And so I know we need to get to bed early. My wife was also an early riser, so we both wake up early. So we both are down between 8 and 8:30. That means the kids have to be down at 7. We don't let the kids dictate what time they go to bed. We dictate what time. And so as fast as we can, we had to get them on a routine. We had to get them. And it took a little bit. Like, of course they want to stay up later. Of course they want to do this. Of course they want to buck.
There's only so much you can do sometimes, but I guess if you can constantly manifest that or set that as a goal, it can. And
it took some time, but like, just like whatever, anything, like, you stick with it, and through repetition, it will sink in and become the new normal. And so now we have both of our kids. We have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and we are very militant about, all right, 7 o'clock bedtime. Dinner's at 6. Bath is at 6:30. Pajamas at 7. By 7:30, they need to be heads on pillows. And all right, heads on pillows. I don't care if you just had 10 candy bars and you're full of sugar and you had 2 cups of coffee. You putting your ass in bed. You are getting in bed, right? We're pretty militant about that because we know we have to get to bed. And so,
do you think the kids are receptive of routines like that too? Like they kind of, at first, maybe there's a little bit of the chaos, the natural inclination to chaos, but then over time they start to develop their own habit and routine, and
of course,
and they understand. Okay, it's 8 o'clock. Okay, well, there's no real fighting this.
100. Last
on the pillow.
Last night, my daughter put herself to bed. She's
really?
Like, all right, Dad, I'm going to bed. It was like 7 something. I'm going to bed. She's 3 years old, and she's now. That took a while to get there. She didn't She bucked the system for a long time, fighting it, but now she knows the routine. Bath. After bath, you get a book, you get a song, like she knows it now. And so soon as bath happens, her brain is already anticipating, I know what's happening next. And so she now gets tired. And so with a routine, as long as you stick to it, like you can't be waffling back and forth. Like you have to be militant about it and stick to it. And then eventually their body will fall in line with that rhythm.
They get used to the rhythm.
They get used to it. So now our kids know they're sleep at 8, and me and my wife, we're sleeping.
They wake up, they make their bed, they fold their clothes.
We're working on that.
Yes, sir. They wrote their goals down.
I'm telling you, man, we drive a tight ship within our house.
The morning hero, staff sergeant. Oh man. Hey, what's one of your secret hobbies that most people don't know about you?
Secret hobby. The funny thing, I need a better hobby. I'll tell you a hobby that I want that I'm going to start this year is hang gliding.
Really?
I mean, it's been a fascination of mine for so long. The only reason I haven't done it is because there's weight restrictions and I'm too fat.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. When you tandem, because I think the glider, there's a weight limit for the glider. So when you're doing a tandem with someone else, you have to be they have to ensure that you're not going to bump up against the weight limit. And so I think the weight was like 190-ish,
oh, man.
195.
I couldn't do it either.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And so now that's been my driving motivation to get down up under there.
Oh, there you go.
But other than that, golf. To be honest, writing is becoming a big hobby. Like that's kind of like my creative. Surprisingly, I'm a good writer, and writing this book, so I've been writing the book in phases. So I'll write a book. I'll write a couple chapters, then I kind of go into doing other things, and then a couple months later, I come back to writing. And so recently, I've been going back and rereading the stuff that I had to read the whole book front to back. And so some of the stuff I wrote a year ago. And so I'm going back and I'm rereading it like I'm a fan, from an entertainment perspective. And I'm just reading my own book. I'm like, damn, this is good.
Yeah.
Who wrote that? Did I write this?
That's awesome.
So writing and producing content, that's, to be honest, when I say think of a hobby, it's what's the thing that lights me up that I do for fun, for free, when nobody's looking? That's the kind of stuff that lights me up. I like helping the world and putting together frameworks and getting it out there and helping people. So that's actually my hobby.
You ever think you would do, I mean, that's an amazing hobby. And I think that is your superpower, whether you know it. Well, obviously you know it, but like, you know, it's just organically manifesting as your call to action in your free time. It's so cool. And I can't wait to read your book once it's ready to be shared with the world.
Yeah.
You're aspiring, or you're to be shared with your biggest fans.
That's right.
Well, have you ever thought about doing paragliding at Torrey Pines?
Yeah, so that's the next best thing. So, because with paragliding, I don't think there is a weight restriction, and so that's the thing that I'll do first, and work my way up.
It seems great. My dad used to do it, and I did the tandem one time there. And it seems very regularly they got enough wind and they can go back and forth. And one of the nice things about that place in particular is that it's not like you have to hike to the top of the mountain and then you go all the way down. Now when you take off, you just go. There's a natural lift from the cliffs there. You can go watch the PGA Tour, see the golf course, and then you fly back. You go over to Scripps, but then you find your way back up if you do what they call scratching the cliffs, and then you can land right where you took off. Yeah. So it's I guess the lazy version of paragliding. I did the tandem.
What'd you think of it?
I don't know, like 10 years ago. I thought it was awesome. It was really cool to do it, although it was on a day where it was like questionable if there was enough wind, which isn't a problem. The only problem is if there's not enough wind, it just means that you're going to land on the beach and you got to hike back up. But I was with it was the world record holder at the time for the most amount of flips in one single paragliding thing. So he jumped out of an airplane, did something like 150 loop-de-loops. So he was like one of the best in the world at paragliding. And so while a lot of other people were landing on the cliffs, he was like, actually the thing was like tapping the cliff. It was just, he was so close to it that he got the max lift. And right before the end of it, we got one little burst of wind and he's like, wow, it just saved us from a nice hike. But it's cool, man. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, anyway, I hope you get to check that out. That sounds real neat. So last thing I got for you, what is the biggest challenge or problem that you're facing today in your business or in life?
The biggest challenge is my goal is to get on more stages, bigger stages. And so I have lots of stages that, I have a podcast, I have an event that I do once a month.
You have a podcast too?
I do. I'm not as consistent with it, but yeah, I do have. It's more like it's just a one-man podcast. So it's not where I'm bringing guests on. It's just me in front of a camera. Yeah. But I'm just getting into a rhythm of doing it every day.
That's awesome.
Now I have a daily podcast, but and I post it into our community. So we have a Morning Hero Tribe community, and so every day I film like a message of the day and I post it into the community, and so the way my mission in life is to help more people become better people, and the way I can do that is to scale my voice, I have to get on bigger stages. So that's for me is the challenge this year is to get on to bigger stages. And and so it's similar to commercial real estate. It's the grind. Right? You can't shy away from the grind. The grind is the prospecting, the reaching out, the introducing yourself, the pitching, right? Like the following up, like it's the grind, right? Yeah. I'm no different. I have a grind. That's my grind. My grind is putting myself out there to get booked, to get on bigger stages.
Well, I've told you this before, but and I missed the last few AG Accelerated Growth Clubs, but man, I think the last one I went to was with the CEO of Everbowl.
Yeah, Jeff Phipps.
Actually, and that's where this question was inspired. His question is what is the biggest challenge? But listening to you speak on stage now versus initially, initially you were good. Now you are so captivating. You really bring the energy and it just glues the public. And if they weren't ready to be, if they came in kind of, I'm just going to check this thing out, they're like, oh my God, this guy's like a hit of multiple hits of espresso. Like I'm ready to like take on the day, let alone like that. Maybe I'll take over the world while I'm at it. And I think that only comes with practice too. You've even said yourself, it takes a lot of practice. And so every time you do that or your podcast, or take opportunities like this to come on to the shows, while it's a fun time rekindling with old friends, it's also another opportunity to get better at public speaking and also just grow your network and become more valuable to reach that goal of getting on the big stages. So that's awesome, man. Hopefully hopefully we can help you get there through this podcast. And the listeners here, you got to give the Morning Hero a follow. Got to check this guy out. And if you're looking for help on his programs, we're going to put the information below. But how can people reach you, Jarvis?
Yeah, so Instagram is where I put a lot of messages out on Instagram as far as like every day I put something out there to help people be better versions of themselves. So the.morning hero on Instagram. This year we're doing 30-day challenges. So once a month, at the beginning of each month, we're going to roll out a 30-day challenge. I call it the 30 Days to Greatness. And it's like within 4 weeks, I can turn anybody into a morning hero. You'll be more focused. You'll have more organization and structure. You'll be more disciplined. More importantly, it's 4 weeks where by the end of it, you have a discipline, an every damn day discipline for your business, for your fitness, and for your family and your relationships. And when you build that discipline where nothing gets in the way, like you don't make excuses, you just got this non-negotiable mindset, then everything you want naturally happens. That's that flow. But it starts with, you got to build those disciplines. So we do it over a 4-week period. So the beginning of each month, we roll out a 30 Days to Greatness. And so we just started our first 30 Days to Greatness for January. And so far, everybody in there is saying it's transformational. So
is it for anybody to join or solely for people in the program?
No, anybody can join. So they would either reach out to me on Instagram or go to themorninghero.com. And in there, they'll be routed to find out more information about it. But that's the two main things. But before I leave, I want to know, what's your biggest challenge? What's your big thing?
The Uno reverse card.
And what's the challenge you're facing? Yeah, I like this.
My biggest challenge right now is I feel like I am up against a problem with my time. Like even, it just was a nice little break over the holidays. It was actually quite kind of long. This holiday season, because the first was like right before a weekend, and like it kind of, the way it all shook out is like we got like an extra week of downtime where people weren't really back hitting it at work. So like I was kind of taking a break from the 20th to the 6th, and like I was like, wow, it took me a minute to get out of the constant grind state and fall into like relaxing with family, enjoying like all the little moments, and just being okay with waking up and going to the zoo instead of like attacking all of my like real estate goals. But jumping right back in, even on Monday and this week, I just have felt almost like overwhelmed with not being able to get everything that I need to done. I'm taking on a lot. One of my big goals is actually to move to Europe in 2028 with Taylor and my family. So my goal to get there is I need to be, this is kind of like my updated grand vision to fill you in. My updated grand vision is to get my monthly cash flow passive income from owning real estate to like $20,000, $30,000 a month. In Europe, that's more like, it's worth almost double in a lot of the places that we're interested in going. The cost of living is a lot lower. So that's a lot to take care of all of our personal needs and also live a really cool lifestyle over there and just switch up our, not that we're not inspired. We love San Diego, but I've lived here I'm 31 now. I've been here for 31 years. So everything in the vicinity of like a 5-hour drive, I've seen it many times. And so I'm ready to just completely jump into a new pond that's just got new inspirational, like cultural feels and everything around. But that, having that goal of 3 years out, it puts a lot of pressure on me to achieve, grow our wealth dramatically during that little time gap that we have. And I know it's doable. I just need to kind of stay consistent and actually hit the daily, monthly, and yearly goals. But yeah, that's my biggest challenge right now is trying to just keep all those balls in the air and not let them drop. And then also not be that, asshole parent that's just never around. And that's definitely a tough balance. And then, last year I definitely noticed that my health suffered. So I've kind of just taken the, with my wife, we talked about, hey, we got a kid coming next month. It's going to be a nice curveball. How can we show up for each other and give each other grace so that we can make sure we're filling all these different cups, and just recentering with the family. And then now it's up to me to make sure that I don't take on too much and I hyper focus on being efficient, and only working on the high income earning things that are going to help towards my grand vision, and not getting distracted with the things like photography for other brokers or, and to me right now, that's the management. The management, while I love doing it, it's been super helpful. I've been working on offloading that more and more. I'm not really ready to give it away to another management company, but I've been hiring on-site managers at each property, which, I pay them a good amount of money. But they take a lot of the day-to-day, which allows me to focus a lot of my time back on the higher income activities. And, I think that the only thing that could really help me be better in all that is, hanging out with guys like you who keep me centered on my tasks and focused. And I think if I'm pulling anything from today's podcast, it's that I gotta wake up a little bit earlier tomorrow, and I gotta get back on that routine and crack the whip on myself.
I think it's especially as a parent. So what time is your kids waking up?
He wakes up anywhere from like 5:30 to, usually it's on the 7 side if he has like a rough night or something. Like this morning it was like 6 a.m.
Okay. On average it's around 6?
Yeah, 6 to 7, something like that.
Okay. Yeah. So as a parent, one parent to another, you having that silent period before the kids wake up is where all the progress is made. Like for me, the reason I wake up at 3:30 is because my kids wake up at 5:30. They're morning heroes.
Yeah.
Because they go to bed so early. Yeah. So they wake up early. And so, especially since I was just writing this book, I needed a full 2 hours of undistracted alone time. I don't have, my wife isn't up, no kids are up, no emails, no phone, to really focus. And then after that, of course, once the sun is up, then the noise of the day kicks in and just like life happens. But boy, between 3:30 and 5:30 in the morning is where I made all my progress in 2024 before the kids woke up. And I would say because of that, I was the better father. I was a better husband. Having that alone time for myself before my family woke up allowed me to serve them a lot more powerfully by the time they woke up. And so I say, for you being the leader of the house, you got to beat the house.
That's right.
You can't be waking up with the house.
Yeah, and I think I know that in the back of my head. And Kenny Simpson's he's a good example of that. He's Kenny, up at like 3:30 every day. He's got 2 kids. He's like, no, I do my workout. I do my beach walk. I do half my content, and then the kids wake up. I'm like, dude, there's so many good wins in the morning. But for me, it's probably just straight up out of laziness. I've pushed a lot of that to going to sleep at like 11.
Yeah.
And, after he goes to sleep, then I do like, okay, these are all the emails I got to set up. I do plan my day the next day. But there is something to be said about being exhausted. All your mental energy has already been depleted by that point. So you don't have that natural creativity, that ability to get into flow state. You really need to shift that.
Man, I tried to do it last night. I tried to stay up late to finish this last edit for the book. And I was just staring at a screen for like 20 minutes on the same paragraph. And like that, if I had did that same task in the morning, it would have took me 5 minutes. Me trying to do it at 9 o'clock at night after I'm exhausted, 30 minutes, and I still didn't. And eventually I just gave up. Like, I'm just going to do this in the morning. Like, you're operating on depleted resources.
That's it, dude. And then it's like you're finding yourself easily distracted. You're like scrolling. Oh, hey, what this buddy told me on Instagram or whatever. It's like, no, the productive hours, no matter what way you try to skin it, it's always in the morning. And so I appreciate it, man. Thank you for all the reminders. And thank you guys all for tuning in. Please follow Jarvis. It can only help you out and make you the kind of person that you were meant to be in this life if you start practicing some of the things that he preaches. So thank you for following. Please share this podcast with your friends. It helps us get on more amazing guests like Jarvis. And again, guys, appreciate you tuning in. Stay tuned for another episode of the Cash Flow Alexio Show. Thanks again for coming on, Jarvis. I really appreciate you.
Cash Flow. Let's go, brother.
Awesome, bro. That was awesome.